So now that the Nintendo Direct that was supposed to happen on September 6th has been delayed, I kind of want to talk about what I want in the next upcoming Nintendo Direct from Nintendo, because there is a lot of possibilities and it actually makes me very excited to see the future of what the Nintendo Switch has to offer. This would actually be one of the first Nintendo Directs we've had in a long time that primarily focuses on first party and third party games, and I'm assuming they're going to talk something about the online service, because we are supposed to get the online service later this month at the later half of this month, so I can see them talking about the online service from Nintendo. There's a lot of possibilities and a lot of things they could do in this Nintendo Direct, and that's why I'm very excited for this Nintendo Direct. And since Nintendo delayed it, I might as well talk about this Nintendo Direct and talk about some things I want in this Nintendo Direct. I'm just going to go off the top of my head. First off, what I really want from Nintendo, I want them to show us something about the online service. Right now, we still don't have a lot to go off when it comes to the online service. Yes, we got the price point. We know that we're getting free games each month. We know that we're getting cloud service. But outside of that, we really don't have any other information of the online service. What type of games are going to require this online service to play online? They did say that first party games like Mario Kart, Splatoon, ARMS, Mario Kart, things like that are going to have the $20 service to play this game. Are you going to have to pay at least $2 or $3 a month if you want to play those games online? But what about the free games like Paladins and Fortnite? Those games are free, so are we going to have to pay money to play online with those games? I'm assuming you wouldn't have to pay money to play those games online because those are free games. So if you had to pay $3 a month to play those games online, it's kind of like you're paying initially to play those games when those games are free. So I don't really see that being the case. And if you look on other platforms like Xbox One and PS4, which both have online services that you have to pay for, they are free games. You don't actually have to pay the online service to actually play them. So if I wanted to play like Fortnite on PS4, I just boot up my console and I play it. And regardless of me owning PSN or not, I can play that game on my system fair and square. I'm hoping that's what Nintendo is going to do, but who knows what Nintendo is going to do. What about indie games? Because there are some indie games out there that do have online functionality. Am I going to have to pay for the online service to use these indie games that have online functionality? Or what about some of these third-party games that have online functionality as well? So there is still a gray area about that, and I want to see more on the online service. I'm assuming they're going to talk a little bit about the online service. I think there's also 10 games that they have not announced for the online service that we still need to know about, that we are going to be getting free. What about more support like SNES games or N64 games? They could talk about those as well. Do I think they're going to talk about those in this latest Direct? It's really hard to tell. I honestly don't think they're going to talk too much about the online service, and I don't honestly think they're going to talk a lot about what type of free games that we're going to be getting outside of like already the NES games. Maybe they'll talk about, like I said, the 10 NES games that we still don't know any information on, so I can see that really being a big thing. One thing I hope Nintendo does do, I hope they kind of give us an incentive to actually pay for the online service. Yes, we got games like Mario Kart, we have games like Splatoon, we have just a number of online games. So the Nintendo Switch already has some pretty good games that have online support, whether those be first-party titles, indie games, or third-party games. We already have some great games that do support online, but those are kind of old games, and I can't really think of any upcoming game that's really going to take really great use of the online service. Yes, we got Super Smash Bros. Coming out in December. Yes, we got Super Mario Party, but those games are just a little bit away. We really don't have one around the launch of the online service, so maybe Nintendo will give us a new experience that will go alongside the online service that may release early October, maybe late September or something, or they're just going to give us a new game in general that's going to have online support, or better yet, they might take one of their old games that they already have on the Switch and update it with online function. I can see that being a thing, and if they don't do that, I can see them actually maybe giving us DLC for like Mario Kart, because why did Nintendo actually give us some Mario Kart DLC that was free? I don't think no one really asked for this Mario Kart DLC. We got Breath of the Wild Link. We also got a Breath of the Wild car and a Breath of the Wild accessories and car parts for this Breath of the Wild DLC, and alongside that, we did get Labo support for Mario Kart. Why would we get Labo support, and why would we get more DLC for Mario Kart if they weren't really going to do anything with Mario Kart? So maybe to entice us to buy this online service, they might say, well, we'll throw you a bone and give you some Mario Kart DLC. So I think they might show us some Mario Kart DLC. Maybe we'll also get some more ports on the Nintendo Switch. I would be down for some more ports. Maybe they can really tease some games like Mario Maker. I'd be down for that. Or there's actually a rumor going around right now that New Super Mario Bros. U might be coming to the Nintendo Switch, and I can see that actually being a theme because we don't really have a 2D Mario on the Nintendo Switch as we speak right now. So giving us a bone like a Mario Maker port, Mario Maker 2, or New Super Mario Bros. U would be actually fit perfectly on the Nintendo Switch. And if they did a game like that, that would pretty much kind of entice some people to actually pay for the online server. Maybe you throw in New Super Mario Bros. U and you give us a Luigi U DLC that was on the Wii U, but instead of just doing that, they throw in some online functionality. Maybe you can play co-op with your friends online, or maybe they'll have random lobbies or something like that. So I can see that really being a big deal. Maybe in this direct we'll get some Super Smash Brothers character reveal. I don't think we'll get much because we already recently had a Super Smash Brothers Direct from Nintendo, but maybe they'll throw us a bone and maybe they'll show us a character or two. I can see them maybe showing us a Pokemon character because we really haven't seen a new Pokemon for this new game, so maybe they'll show us a new Pokemon from Sun and Moon to be announced in this game. We all know that there's a new Pokemon coming to the new Super Smash Brothers game. We just don't know when they're going to reveal that, so maybe they'll want to reveal that here, so maybe people will just get excited and things like that. There's also a whole bunch of things they could do with this Nintendo Direct from Nintendo, and my hopes are fairly low when it comes to these Nintendo Directs. I just wanted to talk about it because we haven't had a Nintendo Direct in quite some time that primarily focused on first-party and third-party games. We've had a lot of these indie Directs, and we had a lot of these Super Smash Brothers Directs, so I can't wait to see what Nintendo has announced. And Nintendo did say they are going to be talking about 3DS games and games upcoming in 2019, so who knows? They might show us teasers of Bayonetta 3. It's possible. Is it likely? I don't know if it's likely, but you never know depending on how long those games are in development. They might show us Bayonetta 3, or they could show us more Fire Emblem stuff, because Fire Emblem is actually right around the corner. It's coming out in early 2019, and if they want to drum up more stuff for Fire Emblem, they could show us more Fire Emblem gameplay. Actually, speaking of Fire Emblem gameplay, I don't know if they even showed us some Fire Emblem gameplay at E3. I know they announced it at E3 and they said it's coming early 2019, but maybe they can show us more gameplay of the actual Fire Emblem experience. And there is still a Yoshi game coming out in 2019 as well, so they could show us that as well. I'm hoping Nintendo really keeps the 3DS stuff down to a minimum, because as a Switch owner, I really don't play my 3DS much at all. I know there's games coming out still like Luigi's Mansion and that Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. I think that's coming in 2019. So there are still games coming out for the Nintendo Switch. I can still see them maybe talking about 1 or 2 games for the Nintendo Switch. For the 3DS, even though the 3DS is quite old. But I think they're not going to talk too much about the 3DS just because the 3DS at this point in time is kind of dwindling down and it's getting fairly old. And I'm assuming they want people to transition from the old 3DS to the Nintendo Switch, where the money is being made, and since they're starting to support that more, I can see that they might not want to talk too much about the 3DS. A lot of people on the internet are actually talking about how they may want to talk about a new 3DS version or a new 2DS version, but we just got one last year in the summertime. We got the new 2DS XL, so I don't know why Nintendo would want to do that. You never know. Nintendo is a weird company, and they have done some questionable things. Like, for instance, they did do the Wii Mini, and I thought the Wii Mini was absolutely utter crap just because it took out the online support, and it was just $99. It did come with, I think one bundle was with Mario Kart Wii, but overall, I didn't understand that whole product at all, and the fact that it didn't come to America anyway. I think it only came to like certain regions. I know it came to Canada, and then it came to America eventually, but overall I did not understand the original Wii Mini when that launched, and the Wii was pretty much on the way out, so I don't know why they actually announced that product with no online support. So you couldn't buy virtual console games, and you couldn't buy those Wii Mini games or those Wii something games that they had on the shop on the Wii. Overall, Nintendo has been known to do some questionable things in their company's history, but I'll just have to wait and see until the Nintendo Direct. Again, I'm keeping my hopes down, and I'm keeping all my expectations down just so I won't be disappointed when this Nintendo Direct comes out. One thing before I head out of here, there's been a lot of talk about a Mega Man 11 demo coming out. I can see maybe Capcom would want to give us a Mega Man 11 demo. Is that likely? I'm still kind of on the fence about that, but there's some people on the internet talking about how Mega Man 11 may be getting a demo on the Nintendo Switch. I know they did do a demo at E3. If you're at E3, you could have tried out Mega Man 11. That may be the same demo that may be coming to the Nintendo Switch. We'll have to wait and see about that. But anyway, guys, this is Wayne from My Tech News, signing out.